Hello and welcome to my engraving examples video where I go over some weapons and some examples for engraving uses in real world situations, not in the video game, in the real world. Alright, so the first one is Folkvanger, however you say that, with leaf. So the idea behind this one is this sword is very light, especially once you get it to +3 to +5. And the idea behind leaf engraving is you get accuracy and damage and also a little bit of a void at the cost of one more weight. But because the sword is so light, most units can use it and it's still weightless. So essentially you just get a more accurate, more damaging sword with no downside at all. Levin sword is a relatively medium might weapon. In this case, we're using Micaiah. Now this was originally on a steel sword and then I just upgraded it to a Levin sword. And this gives a ton of avoid. So Micaiah gives 40 avoid. It does reduce damage, it also reduces weight, and it increases dodge. So it makes you less likely to take crits, it makes you very dodgy, but it does reduce damage. So in this situation, Fram is actually running sword agility and dual support to essentially be unhittable. So this is another example of using Micaiah, using beginnings, or Marth. So the Well Lance actually has pretty good damage, and as you upgrade it to +3, it loses weight. So the beginnings is generally good on anything that doesn't need weight fixing or anything that's light enough. So if something is light, you can throw it on this for free. If something is at the unit's build, like the weight matches the build or their build is slightly higher, you can use this. So it's just free damage, some accuracy, some crit, a little bit of a void. So this one, kind of a weird one to be honest. Sigurd doesn't need to be on this weapon. This weapon is so light that the weight reduction from Sigurd doesn't really help, but you do get 20 avoid and you get might. So I'm actually using this for an avoid tank build instead of for weight fixing and might increase, which is usually how it's used. It's really good engraving for reducing weight while increasing damage. And it's also good for avoid tank builds. So in this case, I'm running on a Lapis who is, making use of her passive, share spoils. She also has pretty high speed. So she's just looking to increase her dodging. Noatan. Now this is similarly used for avoid tanking. This is a unique case. Usually you use this for hit increase, maybe weight reduction, but the avoid tanking in this case, it does give 30 avoid. It gives 30 avoid and hit, -1 damage, -1 weight. So in this case, I'm reducing the weight of the axe. Now Marin has 9 builds, so she doesn't need the weight reduction, but I'm actually just using this for the avoid increase so that she can dodge tank. But you can also use it for weight fixing. You can also use it for hit increase. All right, so this one is pretty obvious. So killer axe with Corrin, you're looking at, so you're greatly increasing the crit rate. Now, obviously it's not the most accurate thing, but once you get to +5, it gets a little bit more accuracy. And then we have Lyn on Hurricane Axe just for the hit increase, so that if we enemy phase some enemy flyers, we can one-shot them. And then Tomahawk with Byleth for the hit increase. So here's a beginning steel sword. This was a really common weapon I would run before the heroes items were added to my accounts and before the well weapons. So this is definitely a decent thing if you're just running base game with no DLC at all. Next we have a Silver Lance with Sigurd. This is very straightforward. It just reduces the weight while also increasing the might, and it increases avoid as well, so it does a little bit of everything. Brave Axe with Ike with Lunar Brace. So this allows Panette to one-round anything with a Brave Axe. The only thing you have to be concerned with is hit rate. And we also have a Tomahawk with Lucina for hit increase and avoid increase, but mostly in this case it's just used for the hit increase. And then on Marin, she has Sigurd, so she can get away with running a heavier silver sword. In this case, she's running Leaf on a silver sword. This is also, a non-heroes run where I'm just running base weapons, so a silver sword is a solid weapon. And then we have a Spear on Goldmary with hit increase just for enemy phasing. She can also player phase Draconic Hex, so she's kind of like a debuff tank in a way. So on this save file, I have another Leaf hero sword, which is pretty solid. Honestly, this is like one of the best use cases of Leaf. The weight doesn't matter at all. You can also put it on Fensalar. In this case, I ran beginnings on Fensalar, so we have some lance power, sword power going on, and some further damage increase with both of those engravings. And then Fram has an iron body art with Micaiah on it. Now you could create another flashing fist because it does give you speed +5, so you actually would have higher speed on this. The iron body art weighs a little bit less than other things, but if you want to run 2 flashing fist arts, one for killing and then one for dodge tanking, that would be the highest avoid. So having higher speed grants higher avoid. So this is common on bonded units, like bonded shield users, or even just to throw on your dancer to make him hard to hit. Next we have Anna. So she has Sigurd on her Levin sword to reduce its weight because she only has 7 build, and then her El Thunder has extra damage from Roy. Now this could be upgraded into a Thoron, but I'd never use it, so she just uses the Levin sword the whole time. All right, and then on Tamara, she actually is running the Well Lance with Lucina for avoid increase, for hit increase, for weight reduction, and those are the main use cases there. And then on Goldmary, her axe has hit increase. Now this is a +5 Noatan, and I believe it has base 8 or 9 weight. I think it's actually at 8, and it gets increased by 1 from Byleth, but this is for hit increase. So she has a hit increase on her axe. Axes tend to need hit increase. And then on her hammer, she is running Lyn, essentially for the hit increase as well. It reduces the weight and the damage, but it's effective damage. The hammer, it's not the best weapon she has access to, but it's still pretty solid. And she can pull it out to, potentially 1 round some armor or put a lot of damage on them. Throw in Lunar Brace Plus, and she usually 1 rounds armor with this hammer. But those are the engravings on my 7-man run. So here is my 5-man DLC run, so we'll check out some of these. So we have beginnings on Volkvanger, and then on the Brave Sword we have Tiki for the damage increase. It also doesn't increase the weight. On Fencelar we have Leaf, and then I have a Rider's Bane with Byleth for accuracy increase. On Tamara we have Edelgard for the damage increase on the Well Lance, and then her Rider's Bane has Ike so that she can just one-shot things potentially. Fram has Soren on Flashing Fist for damage increase, and then on Shielding Arts she has Micaiah for dodge tanking. And then the 5th unit I ran was Saline, and she ran Bolganone with Sigurd because she doesn't have the most build, and it was just for the damage, the accuracy, the damage, the avoid, or I think it does do accuracy. Yeah, the damage, the avoid, the accuracy, and the weight reduction. So that's it for these guys. So that's it for this one. I just wanted to go over some of the weapons that I personally used in some of my maddening runs, just in case you wanted ideas, or if you just wanted to try out something different. Definitely like and subscribe. Feel free to drop a comment as to what weapons you run with what engravings, and I'll see you in the next one.